This is the jacket and project that I mentioned in a previous video. This is the jacket that I started in 1970 and have been working on it off and on ever since then. The jacket's been through a number of changes and it's missing a lot of the things that belong on it. I've taken off so that I can actually do sewing and beading on it, because all the other pins and things that I had on it kept snagging my thread. So I've sort of minimized it, and I'm back at beading with a frenzy. And so I just kind of want to show you what I've been doing. This jacket in 1970, every seam like this, and across here, all these down here on the pockets, on the hems, wherever there was a seam, it was silver sequins, and I used to call it my flash jacket. I was getting ready to move to Maui at the time, and I started doing this idyllic little thing with the rainbow. And this is just embroidery with a single thread that only goes through the twill in the denim. The only thing on the back side of this cloth are the knots. I didn't know what I was doing, so that was the approach I took. Some of it was beading. You can see here where all these thread marks going across here, they were all sequined. My mistake was taking this to the dry cleaner, because I figured that the dry cleaner could do a better job of preserving what was on here than if I laundered it. So I took it to the dry cleaner, and when I got it back, all of the sequins and a lot of jewelry, well, this was anything that was acrylic, just melted. And you can see here where there are some sequins that were left there that just sort of melted. And there's the dry cleaning tag, which I haven't taken off. I've removed all kinds of pins and stuff. This is the original tag that came from the back inside. I went through this period where I started taking all the tags off of my clothes and sticking them on the jacket. Some of them were silk and didn't last. This is the only piece that was really an applique that I sewed onto it, and it's been through a lot of wear, and so I'm not quite sure how I'm going to handle that yet. These velvet roses, which are there, if I put them up you can see these velvet roses, and this bow, which is also velvet, I found in San Francisco in the garbage. It was laying on top of a can. This is the other applique. This is actually a very old one, an old hand crocheted one, I think. Or no, these are tiny little cross stitches. But anyway, that one's on there. That'll move. This was gold at the end of the rainbow. There were a whole lot of other things there. Like I said, I took off a lot of pieces because they were snagging my work. I'm going to try soaking this too, unless somebody has any better ideas at how I might get this a little bit cleaner. These tassels all came from a sofa I found on the street that was being discarded, but the fringe was in really good shape and I loved it. So I've done a lot of darning that will be covered at some point. This is new work that I've done. Goes around, then I change my mind and I'll do something else. These little pink slippers were blowing all over the Lower East Side. A building was being cleaned out and there was a dumpster outside, and there were boxes and boxes of these little pink slippers that someone cracked open, and there were these tiny little plastic slippers blowing all over the Lower East Side, and it sort of became a community joke because everybody knew them, and when they saw them on my jacket, they all started to laugh. This is just kind of my style of multi-beading. These actually were done a long time ago. This is work in progress. As are these. And then there's some sewing up the side there. This ball fringe, after 40 years, is is kind of giving up its ghost, but I'm leaving it in place because it's original. Sorry about that. This is my hometown from when I was in Boy Scouts, so I just have kept that, and I'm sort of highlighting it with new beads. These buttons here are from shotgun shells. They're center fire. They were center fire primers that you can see are already spent, and they say Remington on them. Yeah, good luck charm. Some cowrie shells. Some random beading, and a fancy button. Too fancy. Well, a lot of fancy buttons actually, all glittered. Those were put on after the apocalyptic trip to the dry cleaners. I thought these were studs. What I didn't know is that they're actually for putting crystals on, and I put them on backwards. But I kind of like them as studs. So some of this will be filled in with crystals. It's a fun piece. And as I said, there are tons of pieces missing on here that I've taken off and put in that are stored. Little kids, this jacket was fascinating to little kids. They'd come up to me in the village and they'd just look at me like they'd just seen a candy store or something. And then I would end up talking to their mothers or whomever, and I would invariably pull a piece off and just give it to the kids. Shiny stuff mostly. But this is new work. Some of it. This is some of the old cording that held the sequins. And it's kind of sad, but it's always been a work in progress. And I will continue to do stuff on it and now I have enough beads. If you've seen my other video, to know that I have enough stuff to finish this off, and then some, and then some. So anyway, thanks for watching.